Hello and welcome to the General's Reviews, or tutorials in this case. I'm Chris McLeod, aka Diagnostic 80 from the Full Force podcast, and I'm joining Justin Bell from What's on Joe Mind and General's Joe's to bring you this tutorial of the Boss Fight Studio Vitruvian HACKS Medusa tail. In this video, Justin looks at the easily customizable Gorgon tail and demonstrates how you can extend your Medusa tail to make her stand out from the rest. He also looks at using blanks bodies on your spare tailless Medusa so that she doesn't feel like half a lady. If you want a monstrous Medusa, check out the video, otherwise you may get a little envious at all your other friends who have a longer tail than you. Here's Justin with the tutorial.
Hey there, how are you? This is Justin from GeneralsJoes.com, and I'm here today to give you a short tutorial on making your Medusa the most menacing Medusa she can be. At this point, I think most of us who are interested in the Vitruvian HACKS line have gotten our hands on at least one of these Gorgons and seen just how cool their opposable tail is with all the different joints, all the ball joints that kind of let the figure move around and pose around. As Queen of the Gorgons, Medusa needs to kind of stand above the others, and some enterprising collectors over on the Boss Fighters Facebook page have actually taken matters into their own hands, believe it or not. I have no idea if Boss Fight intended for these to work this way or not, but whatever the case, there's a way to make Medusa's tail even longer than it already is. A great way to make her even more impressive than this highly articulated snake woman already is. You can see each of these individual segments are jointed with ball and socket joints, making the figure extremely posable, extremely stable. She stands really nicely. But the first thing you need to do in order to lengthen her tail is buy a second Medusa. Now, thankfully I've already done this, or else this would be a pretty short video, but and you know, I've got so much disposable income here that I can just choose to throw it at the Vitruvian HACKS line at every possible opportunity. And now the great thing about these HACKS figures too is that buying a second one just gives you another little pile of extra parts. So even after you're done swapping the tail, you'll have all these extra little doodads, little armor pieces and things like that to mess around with. So it's not like you feel like you're wasting money or anything like that. Not only are you getting a longer Medusa tail, but you're also getting some opportunity for extra armor pieces and some other cool things that you can do with these figures because they're so customizable. And now that you have two Medusas, if you look at the tail segments, you can kind of get an idea how the order might work. And as if looking at them wasn't enough, Boss Fight actually embossed numbers into each segment as if they knew us crazy collectors might try something like this. You probably can't see, the lighting isn't perfect, but there's a number 1 kind of on the internal lip of this top segment here. If you look at the internal lip here, you have to trust me on this because obviously the camera doesn't show it very well. But the internal lip of the second segment, there's a 2, and then there's a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 on all of these different tail segments. You will see, if you have one in hand, you look like right underneath kind of the bottom scaly bit, there's a little embossed number. So you can see that there are actually numbers on these tail segments that make this job even easier. So while Boss Fight might not have intended us to use them for this purpose, it's really nice to kind of have them there. As if they were expecting dumb collectors like us to tear these things apart and might need some help actually putting them back together. So keeping that in mind, obviously you start with the one segment first, because it's the longest segment. But you don't just go like 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, whatever. There's actually kind of a formula. And according to these folks I talked about on the Boss Fighters Facebook group, the optimal formula to kind of ensure that the tail tapers properly and doesn't look unnatural is actually to go number 1 first, and then 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6, 7, and 8. And I'm sure you're not going to follow all that. Neither did I when I first read it. But essentially what you want to do is you want to do 2, 3. So because they're the ball and sockets, they're actually really easy to tear apart. So there's a 2, 3 there. And, I don't have to tear both of them all the way apart, but I'm going to just for the sake of this tutorial. So there's a 2, 3 and a 2, 3. Then there's a 4, 5 and a 4, 5 right there. And then you've got a 6, 7. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this. Put them in order like this. There's a 6, 7 and a 6, 7. And of course you've got 2 8s, but you're not going to use both 8s because they end in a stubby end of the tail. So first and foremost, you've got your 2 3s right here. So there's a little ball, a little socket right there, a little female end. You can kind of push the male end in there. So there's the first 2 3 and the second 2 3. make sure it kind of stays in there snug. And then there's this first 4-5, the second 4-5. You want to kind of push till you hear that click. And then here's the first 6-7. Whoops. And there's a second 6-7 here. Now, one thing you'll notice is that there's a male and a male. Obviously, male, for the sake of this tutorial, those don't go together real well. So what I'm actually going to have to do here is, you'll see this has a little dumbbell on the end. So I'm going to actually pop that out. And there may be other ways to do this. I don't know, but this is kind of the way that has worked for me in my personal experience. And then you can hook that there, and then you've still got this male end here to hook onto the actual tail. So once these pieces get smaller, it gets a little bit tougher to hook them together. And then you plug the tail in like that. And now you can see how crazy long this Medusa tail has become. Because the ball and sockets are all intact, it retains that full posability, only at a much longer length. And it's really as easy as that. The ball and socket is a perfect way to ensure that these can come apart and put back together. And now you have this Medusa with a completely double length tail. And the cool thing about this too, like I said, you're spending $25 on these HACKS figures. So what do you do with this one? Well, if you want, you can actually pop her top half off. And if you've got a blank rolling around, you can pop her top half right onto a blank to kind of give you a figure to mess around with. It obviously might require a little paint or something, but it's there if needed. Also, if you wanted to, for whatever reason, kind of look at building a new Gorgon, you can put the top half of the blank on the bottom half of the Gorgon and stuff there like that. There's all sorts of possibilities with these figures. Plus, you've got all these extra little armor bits that are pretty cool and can add some spice to some existing customs that you might have planned. So right now, that's really it. And now you can take your undead warrior, or whatever other hapless Spartan you've got at easy reach, coil them up in their tail, and make all sorts of cool displays. And that's really all there is to it. I mean, it's that quick, that easy, that fast. Just follow the formula that, segment 1 first, and then 2-3, 2-3, 4-5, 4-5, 6-7, 6-7, and make sure that final dumbbell is popped out, so you've got the right female or the right female to male ratio for those final couple of pieces. And that's pretty much all there is to it. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and this has made swapping your own Medusa tail nice and easy. Go to bossfightshop.com in order to pick yourself up a second Medusa. And once again, thanks to Chris from the Full Force Podcast for helping put this little video together. And I hope you've enjoyed it. If you liked it, give me a like. Consider subscribing to the channel. If you didn't like it, leave me a comment. Let me know why not. But thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you later.
Thanks for watching this tutorial by Justin Bell of generalsjoes.com and What's on Joe Mind, and from myself, Chris McLeod, aka Diagnostic80 from the Full Force. If you've enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel and let us know what you think on any of our numerous social networking platforms. Goodbye, and see you next time for another General's Review, or tutorial in this case.